Good morning. I love to read. My idea of a perfect day is sitting by a fireplace in a comfortable recliner, the throw blanket on, pillows propping me up, a big mug of Peet's coffee in my hand, and a book. I love to read. I love all kinds fiction, biographies, autobiographies, inspirational books. And I have a bookshelf in my house and I have a lot of books on it. And I've read almost every single one and some of them many times. Some people love to go to the mall. I'd rather go to the library. I think I may have gotten my love of reading from my dad. He was always reading. And where we grew up in Michigan, it was way up north and it would get dark really early in the winter time. So after dinner, my dad would have us kids come sit around him. He'd sit in a chair and we'd gather in a semicircle around him. My mom would wash the dishes from dinner and he would read to us. I remember him reading The Incredible Journey. And I remember him reading the Happy Hollister book series about a family and they would have adventures together. I think there was probably about 20 of those books. And I remember him reading them all to us. Most kids, they would play video games or watch movies, but I would rather read. I still enjoy it to this day, and I think that is why this verse caught my attention that I was reading the other day. And it's just a short little verse, but it really spoke a good message to me, so I thought I'd share it with you today. It's 2 Corinthians 3:2. Ye are our epistle, written in our hearts, known and read of all men. Now, if you've been in church a while, you know that an epistle is a letter. For example, Romans that we read in the Bible was compiled from letters that the Apostle Paul wrote to the church in Rome, and those letters were put together to make now what we would call the book of Romans. So you could also say that an epistle or many epistles put together would be like a book. And with that in mind, let me reread that verse. Ye are our epistle, or I could say our letter or our book, written in our hearts. Now pay attention to this. Known and read of all men. Did you get that part? Paul was telling the Christians in Corinth that they were like a letter or a book. And get this part, known and read of all men. That's the phrase that really stuck out to me the other day. I'd like to say it this way. Your life is like a book. And if your life is like a book, what kind of book is it? If people are reading your life like a book, what kind of book are they reading? I'm sure you've heard that quote by John MacArthur, you are the only Bible that some unbelievers will ever read. Now, if this is true, then what do your neighbors think of your life? What does the grocery store clerk or the gas station attendant or the librarian think of you? Are you living a life that is a good example of how a Christian ought to live? You are the only example of Jesus that most people will ever see. Do people read about the patience of Jesus when they interact with you? Do they read of his forgiveness when they have done something wrong against you? Do they read about his unconditional love, his amazing grace, his unending mercy? If people know you are a Christian, and they should, what do they think of Christians? Do they think Christians are rude, impatient, and unkind because you have been rude, impatient, and unkind to them? Do they think Christians are liars, dishonest, and untrustworthy because you have lied to them? You've been dishonest with them, or maybe you've betrayed their trust? What kind of book are they reading from your life? Different authors that I enjoy reading evoke different types of emotions from me. When I read books by a particular author that I enjoy reading, I'm pretty sure that every book of hers I've read, I've cried somewhere in that book. There's another author that I enjoy to read who makes me laugh. She paints such amazing word pictures in my mind that you can see the pages come to life before your eyes. And she makes the characters seem so real that you feel like you know them. And I've read a few books, though, that, partway through, I I didn't want to finish it, honestly, because I just didn't like the story or I didn't like how the author wrote. How do people feel when they finish reading the book of your life? Do they like what they read? Do they walk away saying, oh, that was a good chapter? Or do they say, I'm not sure if I'm going to finish that book. I didn't really care for it very much. What type of impression do you make on people? Would people want to spend more time with you? Would they want to spend a day snuggled in a chair with some coffee and a fire and enjoy the chapter of your life that they are reading, or would they rather not? Whether we like it or not, people are watching. They are reading the book of your life. Is it a good book? That's something to think about today.